Do you feel that playing rock and roll music keeps you a child? That is, keeps you in a state of arrested development?
No. I feel it's more like going to a national park or something, and there's, they preserve the moose, and that's my childhood up there on stage, is that moose, And
so when you're playing, you feel like a preserved moose on stage?
Yeah.
I've been listening to the classics. I belong to a great series. It's called the Namesake series of cassettes, and they send you the works of famous authors done by actors with the same last name. So I've got Denham Eliot reading T.S. Eliot on this one.
Well, that's
and
interesting.
I've got Danny Thomas doing A Child's Christmas in Wales by Dylan Thomas. And next month it's Maclean Stevenson reads Robert Louis Stevenson. Treasure Island, I believe.
It's interesting. It's fascinating.
There's also something, there's a shorter works of Washington Irving read by someone called Dr. J.
Oh, that's Julius Irving.
Oh,
Julius
there
Irving,
you go.
the
Yeah,
basketball
keeping
player.
with the series. Yeah, well, I didn't know that. Yeah.
You like this?
It's very nice. It looks like Halloween.
This is my exact inner structure done in a T-shirt. Exactly medically accurate. See?
So in other words, if we were to take all your flesh and blood and
Take them off.
you'd see exactly.
This is what you'd
It wouldn't
see.
be green, though.
It is green. See how your blood looks blue?
Yeah, well, that's just the vein. I mean, the color of the vein. I mean, the blood is actually red.
Oh, well, maybe it's not green, then I don't know. Anyway, this is what we sleep in sometimes.
Yeah. Dennis Eaton Hogg, the president of Polymer Records, was recently knighted. And what were the circumstances surrounding his knighthood?
The specific reason why he was knighted was for the founding of Hogwood, which is a summer camp for pale young boys.
David St. Hubbins. I must admit, I've never heard anybody with that name.
What's an unusual name? Well, he was an unusual saint. He's not a very well-known saint.
Oh, there actually is, there was a St. Hubbins.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, what was he the saint of?
He was the patron saint of quality footwear.
You play to predominantly a white audience. Do you feel your music is racist in any way?
No, of course not. We say love your brother. We don't say it really, but
We don't literally say it.
no, we don't say it.
We don't really
at all.
literally mean it.
No, we don't
but
believe
we're
it
not
either.
racists.
But that message should be clear anyway.
We're anything but racist.
We've grown musically. I mean, you listen to some of the rubbish we did early on, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Now, a song like Sex Bomb, we're taking a sophisticated view of the idea of sex, and music.
Putting it on a farm.
Yeah.
If I were to ask you what your philosophy of life or your creed, what would that be?
Have a good time all the time. That's my philosophy, Marty.
I believe virtually everything I read, and I think that is what makes me more of a selective human than someone who doesn't believe anything.
Do you have a philosophy or a creed that you live by?
Well, personally, I like to think about sex and drugs and rock and roll. That's my life.
If you were to have something written as your epitaph,
Here lies David St. Hubbins. And why not?
you feel that sums up your...
No, it's the first thing I could think of.
Oh, I
really,
see.
it doesn't sum up anything, really.
Yeah.
I'm a real fish nut. I really like fish.
What kind of fish?
Well, in the United States, you have cod. I like cod. And I love tuna. Those little cans you've got here, tuna fish. I like that. No bones.
Yeah. If you could not play rock and roll, what would you do?
I'd be a full-time dreamer.
I'd probably get a bit stupid and start to make a fool of myself in public because there wouldn't be a stage to go on.
Probably work with children.
As long as there's, sex and drugs, I can do without the rock and roll.
Well, I suppose I could work in a shop of some kind or do freelance selling of some sort of product.
A salesman, you think?
A salesman, like maybe in a haberdasher or maybe like a chapeau shop or something. What size do you wear, sir? And then you answer me.
7 1/4.
I think we have that. Something like that. I think I could do, yeah.
You think you'd be happy doing something?
No, we're all out. Do you wear black? See, that sort of thing, I think I could probably master up.
Yeah. Do you think you'd be happy doing that?
Well, I don't know. What are the hours?
Returning to planet Earth this Friday.
As if we're beginning to materialize.
Doctor Who, a legend in his own time, introducing a season of his most daring exploits, a retrospective study of the Time Lord in all his incarnations. Resistance is Useless at 6:50, followed by episode 1 of The Time Meddler, this Friday on 2.
They are to be exterminated, you understand?
And now Peter Cockcroft gets into his meteorological time machine for a look back at the weather over the last year and a forecast for the beginning of 1992.
Hello there and welcome to the first Weatherview of 1992. And I thought we'd start off by taking a look back at the weather around the world from last year. Starting off in February in the northern mountains of Iran, where we saw black rain falling caused by the oil fires during the Gulf War. Moving a little bit further east and into the springtime, some devastating weather around the Bay of Bengal when a severe cyclone hit Bangladesh. Further east still, we saw Mount Pinatubo erupting in the Philippines during the summer, and by the autumn, American astronauts were reporting that the whole Earth was looking very hazy from space. Let's move a little bit closer to home, and in fact it turned out to be quite a dry summer through England and Wales. Certainly it was the 4th driest August this century. Now I hope the early frosts in April didn't cause you any problems as far as your wine celebrations were concerned for New Year's Eve, but certainly there was damage to the vines there through the Champagne and the Bordeaux regions. And last January, do you remember last January? In fact it was the sunniest since 1959. Now, I'm not sure I can promise you very much sunshine for the coming January, but to start off with, it's going to be a rather wet and windy time over Scotland and Northern Ireland. Certainly weather warnings tonight out for Scotland and Northern Ireland with severe gales. That means gusts of 60 to 80 miles an hour, so there could be some structural damage there. Not only that, but some very heavy rain coming in from the Atlantic as well. And a combination of those strong winds and that heavy rain is certainly going to make driving conditions extremely hazardous. The culprit, an area of low pressure, it's been winding itself up out in the Atlantic during New Year's Eve, moving fairly swiftly north and eastwards. Just look how tightly packed those isobars are. And by New Year's Day, we're going to find it right the way up in the Norwegian Sea, with a weather front straddling northern parts of the British Isles. So we can see the winds earlier on during New Year's Eve, very light in the south, but as you move northwards, strengthening from the southwest. Let's just follow the pressure pattern through, and you can see by the time we got around midnight, those strong to gale force winds were pushing right the way across Northern Ireland into Scotland. By the morning, though, the isobars opening up, the gales becoming confined to the Irish Sea and that eastern side of northern England up through eastern Scotland. Quite widely spaced, those isobars, over the western side of Scotland, so some moderation in the wind there. Not only windy but wet too, and the computer picks up that rain quite nicely. It's the hatched area here, and you'll see through the night that rain pushing south, some quite heavy bursts. By the morning though, I think clearer, drier weather getting into northern parts of Scotland. Now with all that cloud and strong winds around, I think we'll find temperatures holding up well above freezing tonight. Starting off New Year's Day then, we'll have that brighter slot across northern parts of Scotland. There will be this band of heavier rain across the borders, across into Northern Ireland. Then to the south of that, somewhat brighter weather in the east, a thinning of the cloud. But on the western side of England and Wales, that cloud just thick enough to give the odd spot of drizzle. Now the rain further north will be pushing back northwards during the day, and I think we'll see a bit of brightness on the eastern side, perhaps even a gap in the cloud, a touch of blue sky there. But it'll certainly be quite a mild day for the time of year, but I think you'll probably find it'll feel quite cold in those strong west to southwesterly winds. Looking ahead to Thursday then, you can see still tightly packed isobars across northern parts of the British Isles. In the far north we'll find weather fronts straddling northern parts of Scotland. So I think we're going to maintain this picture of rather cloudy, wet and windy weather in the north, but mild, dry, but again quite cloudy in the south. The best of any sunshine in the east. Well, that's the weather view. I wish you a happy new year.
New Year's Day on BBC2. Radio Days starring Mia Farrow.
If you loved me, you'd leave your wife and marry me.
I suppose you would have been happier married to Rita Hayworth.
I met you in hotel rooms, in the back of cars, in stalled elevators. You're going to lose your respect for me.
Don't hit it, Abe. You'll break it.
I know what I'm doing.
I will take
Woody Allen recreates the golden age of New York's radio days, New Year's Day at 8 o'clock on BBC2.
And here's how Radio Days fits in with the rest of New Year's Day. The evening gets off to a musical start when the American soprano Maria Ewing takes on the leading role for the Royal Opera's new staging of Georges Bizet's classic opera Carmen. The production is conducted by Zubin Mehta, and the curtain goes up on the Covent Garden stage at 5:15. There's Radio Days at 8, and that's followed at 9:25 by Loving the Dead, a moving personal film in which writer and filmmaker Myra Hammermesh returns to Poland to look for the grave of her mother. It's a story of a search for understanding for the fate of a family. Finally, a film at 10:20 stars Jeremy Irons in another first showing on network television. Set in 1955, it's a story of a Belgian man who, after settling in Australia, is called back to his hometown. The film vividly contrasts the outback with the subdued landscapes of Northern Europe. Programmes for New Year's Day on BBC2. Those are the programmes. As for tonight, that's it for BBC2. Don't forget that BBC Radio 1 and 2 are on the air through the night with the perfect accompaniment to your New Year's Eve celebrations. Speaking of which, we're all about to join our own parties. And so on behalf of all of tonight's team on BBC2, this is Reg Sanders wishing you a very safe and peaceful night. And of course, a Happy New Year to you.